The second thing I want you to think about, which is kind of like intervallic playing, but it's a little more constructed, is playing arpeggios or arpeggio ideas. Now, an arpeggio is a broken chord. So if you were to take, for instance, a G major chord, and instead of just strumming it, you play the individual notes of that chord, you'd be playing an arpeggio. But guitar players, you know, when we solo, we're not just looking at a chord and just doing this. What we have a tendency of doing is trying to find the notes of that chord. Now, again, you either know your theory to know that a G major chord is comprised of G, B, and D, which is the root, the third, and the fifth, all that kind of stuff. Or you don't, and you just have the ability of being able to visualize a chord shape on your guitar, and either way works just fine. For instance, if you knew your triads in your head and you knew them on your fretboard, your arpeggios, you'd know you could play, you know, G, B, D. Which when you play those arpeggios, it's intervallic, right? Because you're skipping over other notes. But if you don't know all of that just yet, again, this is a wonderful thing for you to study, but let's say you can just visualize a chord on your guitar. So you don't know all of your theory and you don't know all of that stuff on your fretboard, but you can visualize a G chord on your guitar or a G chord up here on your guitar, right? Something like that. What you can do is sort of intertwine that visualization of that chord into the scale that you're already seeing. So let's say, for instance, you're looking at this G major chord right here, or G major scale, excuse me. And again, don't worry about what I'm playing. If you play your G major scale here, or whatever, it's perfectly fine, okay? But what I'm doing is I'm visualizing this G major bar chord right here, and I'm visualizing the G major scale as well. So what I can do is, instead of just playing up and down the scale, which is what we're trying to avoid right now, what I can do is drop into that shape, that G major shape, and play that as an arpeggio, right? So let's say, for instance, we're visualizing this G major bar chord. So what I'm going to do is go to the 5th fret of the 4th string, and the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and the 3rd fret of the 1st string, because those are the bottom 4 strings of this G major chord. So I'm visualizing, you see? Now, while I'm visualizing that, I'm also able to see the G major scale sitting right here. So at any time, I might be playing in this position, and I could drop back into that chord shape and play the arpeggio sounds of that chord. And of course, the more you know about how to see that G major chord all across the fretboard, the more options you have, right? Or the more you understand about your music theory, the more options you have of where you could be doing this. So right now we've got intervallic ideas and we've got arpeggios. So instead of just going, we're thinking about how we could play more intervallic, excuse me. And I could drop into an arpeggio. Now, the nice thing about the arpeggio as well is any of the notes that make up that chord are great notes for you to emphasize within the context of your chord, or excuse me, your solo. Sorry about that. So instead of always just going to G, you know, a G chord is being played and you're always emphasizing the note G, which G is a wonderful note, okay? But if you can visualize the chord shape, any of these notes could be emphasized. They're great target notes to try and push your movements towards one of those notes. So if this chord's being played, and you go, you see, it's going to sound a little more interesting, I would think, than just playing the scale. So the first thing is intervallic movement. The second thing would be learning something about arpeggios, whether or not it's the theory and the application on your fretboard, or whether or not it's visualizing the chord shapes. That's all entirely up to you and your study interests, okay? Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. Listen, if you're ready to take your guitar playing to the next level, then I'd like to invite you to go to GuitarZoom.com and sign up for a VIP membership, which gives you first access to my premium lessons each month, which are customized for your specific goals and skill level. Now, it's an awesome community of guitar players that love to play, have fun, and support each other's goals, and we'd love to have you join us. So go to GuitarZoom.com and sign up for VIP today.